What I intend to do is show you how to make a custom brush for the terrain editor. But before doing that, I want to go over a bit about 16-bit and 8-bit grayscales, because there's some things in this terrain editor that only operate at the 8-bit level. For example, I'll just produce some smooth fractals. So if I go rounded dunes, that's a nice smooth fractal there. So hopefully if we get a nice low frequency one like this and then render it, you see these sides are nice and smooth. If I then go ahead and use a filter here, so I suppose I'll just create my own custom filter, smooth that out so it should be a smooth transition, so it's only a gentle filter, and apply that. Although you can't see any steps here, that has been reduced to 8 bits by the filtering process. That wasn't a request on my behalf, that's just a limitation of the filter. So when you see these little steps, you can see the height maps being reverted to 8 bits. I'll just use Ctrl Z and you can see now it's lovely and smooth, and if I edit that and I export that image, so I'll call that 1, and then use picture to bring that back. Okay, again the export process only operates at 8 bits, so that's a bit of a limitation there. Right, other things to be aware of here. So we'll go in here. If you hold the shift key down and click on picture, you can go into the deep texture editor, and at this point you can select a texture source to create your height map, like this one for example. I'm going to choose this one because it's got a bit of a problem with it, in that it appears like it might work, however it's not made any changes there. So if I go back in there, hold the shift key down, the reason that this didn't output a grayscale height map is because we've got a color component on the output. So if that needs to be set to none there, then you can see the grayscale height map, and then when you check out it's generated, and we'll check out of here and just have a quick look. So that's super, and you can see how smooth that is, and the reason for that is that the deep texture editor generates 16-bit grayscale height maps, which is excellent, so you get very good results when you finish, and I'm sure the reason that that's the case is because this fractal engine here is also linked in with the deep texture editor at some point. Anyway, the thing to be aware of here is if we reset this to new, paint our own terrain or whatever, having linked it to the deep texture editor, it will continue to take its source from the deep texture editor. You can't get around that. So if you, I'll go back in here because there was some other pattern I was looking for, so hold the shift key down, click on picture, and I'm going to bring in this one, which will give me a binary height map. Here we go. So it's just high and low, and I'll check out of here. You can see what that looks like. It's rather harsh and it goes right to the edges. I can't modify that and then exit and any of the changes been made, but I could say give it round edges like so, and export it at this point. So that would allow me to have a filtered form of that. Now if I check out of here now, it won't have round edges, and if I go back in, you'll see it's restored it because it's come from the deep texture editor. So at this point there's nothing more I can do with this terrain if I don't want it to be linked to the deep texture editor, so I'll have to get rid of that. Go to create, hold the control key down, I can bring in a terrain in default grey material, enlarge it, lift it up, edit it, and bring that picture in that I just created like so, and you can see how that looks now. But unfortunately you've got the limitation that it's come in and it's got this problem where it's now 8 bits. So what else could I do to this? I could filter it to change its shape. There's some preset filters here, so I'll apply a preset filter there, and if I lower it down and then smooth it, the reason I lower it down is it won't run out of headroom, because as you smooth these things you can see the height increases, so that's one way of getting around that. But what I was really wanting to do was show you how these brushes might work, these custom brushes. So what I'm going to do, then go back in here and go new and invert, so I've just got fully white square, and I'm going to export that image as 3 so that I can use that to demonstrate something else, and then I'll just get rid of that and create another terrain in the default grey, so I've got something to work with, a canvas that isn't linked to the deep texture editor. I'll just use new. Okay, right, if we click on this little icon here, it takes you into the brush library. The brush presets that come with Bryce have all been done in two colours, so they're black or white, which was how things worked in version 6 point whatever, and it would have been better if they'd have been grayscale. And for the new version of Bryce now, 7.1, you can have grayscale images, so that gives better results. But these are all black and white, so let's go and put in a new category. So just click on this little plus here, and we'll create test cat, and then I'm going to add my own brushes. So I'm going to add the first one I saved there from the height map, I'm going to add the second one, and I'm going to add the third one, which is fully white, and I'm going to use this fully white one to demonstrate some things about the way this brush painter works. So this control allows you to scale it up and down. This control allows you to have hard edges or soft edges. However, the hard edges, and that's the paint flow, and that sets the height limit. So it's very similar to the other controls, so I don't probably need to go on about this. I just need to draw your attention to the fact that hard edges are still not all that hard. So you can see they fade out a bit, but soft edges are really soft, and you need to do a lot of painting of the same thing before you can see the effect. So soft edges are much softer, and hard edges aren't quite 100% hard. Right, let's bring in a more interesting brush. So we've got this brush that we saved of the terrain. The limitation is that, as before, it'll paint at 8 bits. So if I just click that, because that was an 8-bit terrain, even though it's rather low, you should be able to see that it's got some steps in, particularly if I emphasize this. I think there's is it dampen? No, not dampen. Equalize will bring that up, so I can sort of increase the contrast on that image, and that should show you the steps. So there's a limitation of the 8-bit steps. So you can sort of get around this. Let's use the other brush I did here, this one, by using very soft, and then I'll shrink that down a bit. I can paint that in. You should. It's a bit difficult to judge there what's going on. And if your computer's fast enough, you can use this option here to use real-time linking, and then you can paint and see what's happening. So by blurring things around a bit, then you can overcome the steps in it, and I'll just paint a few more things in there, and you can get quite an interesting effect using this brush. So if you use your own custom brushes, you just need to be aware that there will be 8 bits, so you might get some steps in them. If you're wanting to get rid of the steps after you've done it, what you can do is lower it slightly and then smooth it, though of course that will reduce some of the detail in your image. So you can sort of get over that if you like by increasing the resolution of your terrain, but that will slow things down. So pros and cons, as you might imagine. What else could we do? Well, there's no limitation really to the number of times you can do this export and then use it as a brush. So let's just do that sort of thing. So I've painted that in, and then I can filter it down like so. We'll make it even more extreme perhaps. So smooth that filter, apply, so that's gone very low there. Equalize, that was the one that brought it up, so we'll now see that there's an obvious steps in the outside of this, which is an interesting effect in itself. We can filter bits of this independently by using these brackets. They're a bit difficult to get a hold of there, and then I'm going to use erode, which is, oh, there you are. So you can see that some parts of it will get eroded and others won't, and then I can load that back. So hopefully now there'll be an eroded band on the side of this, and then there'll be sharp bits as well. So you can see the erosions occurred in specific places. I'm going to just give it a quick smooth, and then export image. I'll call that 3, doesn't really matter. Replace number 3, go into the brush library, add, bring number 3 in. There we go. Right, new, and then paint with this one however I want to. Build up a bit of an effect in there like so, and then smooth that down to get rid of the steps so much, not too much, otherwise we'll lose detail. Bearing in mind the smoothing process is going to take a bit longer because I increased the resolution. And oh yeah, it's probably been smoothed too much. It looks like it's got the edges smoothed after, hasn't it? So if I go over the top of this, I can just lower that down and start again really, but I can still have some effect of the original there. So hard edges will make it flow faster. Pop a few of these in, smooth twice to get rid of some of the steps, but don't soften it too much. Let's see how that looks. It's okay, I suppose, but it's no great shakes. Let's see. Move my camera around a bit. I think I preferred the other one. There's a bit of a problem really if things are too smooth, and the other thing is I suppose I've expanded them to a size where they need to be a quarter the size because I'm over expanding them. Got to remember what the original size of the image was, or capture larger images. I wonder what that's. No, PNG3 is a larger image, but it was painted with a smaller brush, so that is going to degrade the image somewhat. Now that's turned out better. So there's quite a few things you can play with here. Just got to be aware of the different resolutions, not only the scale of the terrains that you're using, but also the bit resolution of your height maps and the limitation there. But it's quite a lot of scope for creating interesting effects in your terrains by using these custom brushes. That's the end of the video. Hope you found that interesting and that you'll experiment with this in your own renders.